Thanks for staying with us. As many of you know, it's the month of Ramadan. Muslims are observing their 30-day fast, and it's an opportunity for us to once again learn about the lessons of Ramadan. Joining us on the show right now is a senior lecturer, Department of Islamic Studies, Al-Hikmah University. We have with us Dr. Sanusi Lafiagi. Yes, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on our show. We like to bring in sheikhs like you once in a while to teach us some of the important lessons of this season, because many of us have Muslim friends who are fast and observing, but we don't have an understanding of the objectives, the lessons of this season. So we'd like you to give us some highlights on some of the lessons you like that Muslims would like to share with us on this month of Ramadan.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First, it is important to know that fasting in the month of Ramadan is an obligation upon every Muslim who has attained the age of puberty and who is not excused as a result of menstrual blood flow or postpartum bleeding or due to old age or sickness, among other things. So once you have attained this age of puberty as a Muslim, you must observe the fast. It's a pillar of Islam. And the whole essence of the Ramadan fast is explained by Allah in Quran chapter 2, verse 183, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, just in 2 words, that you may attain piety. So Ramadan is to inculcate God's consciousness in the Muslim, but personally I believe there are about 5 major objectives that the Ramadan has come to achieve in the life of the Muslims. The first is obedience. When we're younger, some of us will hide behind the doors to drink water and just clean our mouth as if we have not done anything, and I'll come out and say we're fasting. But now as an adult, you simply can't do that, not because anybody will see you, but because you just felt this is an obligation. So I want to be obedient to my God, because if nobody sees me, He sees me. So that is number one. Then the second thing also is charity. Ramadan is a month of charity. It has come to teach us that as a Muslim, you must be ready to give. The Prophet ﷺ said, Man aftara sa'iman, whoever feeds a fasting Muslim will get a reward of a day of fast. It will not affect the fast of the person you fed. So that's why you see that in this month, there are so many Muslim organizations that are giving free food to the needy, just to be able to share in the reward of the month of Ramadan. Then the third thing is unity. Muslims across the globe, wherever they may be, are fasting at this point in time. Our salat time may differ. Our due to the difference in time zone, so we pray at different times. But when it comes to Ramadan, everybody seems to be observing the fast at the same time, despite the differences in the hours. So there is that sense of unity among the Muslims. You also realize that in this month, even those Muslims in your society who you hardly see in the mosque to come and pray for the 5 daily prayers, you start seeing that the mosque will be packed full. So where is this influx of worshippers coming from? They are Muslims in your society, but probably because of one reason or the other, they don't come to the mosque to pray. So that unity is always there. And then you also see that Ramadan has come to teach us morality. So Ramadan is a month of moral inculcation, a month of spiritual development for the Muslim. Because even the worst of the Muslims is in his best during this time. I don't want to mention names, but there are some of our brothers who are musicians, artists, who like to sing lewd music with very vulgar lyrics. Go and check their Twitter handles at this time. They're encouraging people to even do tahajjud, to do charity. Yes. You know,
but can they still make heaven after? Because they're only holy during Ramadan. After that, they're back. So,
you see, what is important for the Muslim is to be conscious of God. Making heaven is entirely in God's hand. He is the one that decides who goes or who doesn't go. But as a Muslim, Ramadan should not be the only month in which we remember God and get closer to Him. Ramadan is a preparatory ground, actually, just to teach us that spiritual awareness and consciousness so that we live the remaining 11 months being God's conscious.
You mentioned the exemptions when you were talking about Ramadan. Just, when you recited the verse that compels Ramadan fasting, you said women who are on the menstrual cycle, postpartum bleeding, you said old age. If all of these exemptions are clearly stated in the verse following that verse, why do we enforce not eating in public like they do in Kano?
Okay, well, I think it's important for us to know that non-Muslims are completely exempted from Ramadan fast, so which means they have the right to eat at any point in time, at whatever place they choose, and nobody should actually feel offended by that, because they are not obligated by the Islamic law to observe the fast. So then, even among the Muslims, you have those who are exempted, so why won't they eat? So I think it's important for the Muslims to respect the boundaries when it comes to issues like this. Well, I think the only thing we can say is, okay, please, can you just probably not do it to insult the, probably somebody might deliberately just want to say, I want to insult the Muslims and come and eat. But I don't think anybody even does that. Nobody has the time for, whipping up sentiments. So it is important that we respect these boundaries. Those who are exempted from fasting should be free to eat their food in public. It doesn't affect anyone. Because even if I'm sitting close to a Muslim woman who is menstruating and she decides to bring out her food and eat, why should I feel offended by it? I'm fasting for God. It's none of my business.
Okay. You should not be looking inside the food.
At all.
So I like the Ramadan spirit, and I like how some of the Muslims around me are comporting themselves and trying to, make right with God. And I'm wondering, is there any teaching in the Quran or, in all of the services that they are holding and their prayers and everything that would help them extend some of these piousness, being holy and righteousness beyond Ramadan? Because once Ramadan is over now, it's like everybody just goes back to status quo.
Exactly. It's unfortunate that as Muslims, most of us have failed to understand the real essence of the Ramadan fast. It is not meant to just be within that month alone. It is meant to train us to understand that this is how we should be living our lives. God wants us to be closer to Him. He wants us to be morally upright. He wants us to be good and kind to others, to be compassionate and empathetic to the poor and the needy in society. This is the teaching of Islam. So it is not meant to be used in Ramadan alone, then after Ramadan, we go back to our former lives. So there's a need for the scholars to keep re-emphasizing this importance so that the spirit of Ramadan will continue to be with us even after Ramadan.
No, I just find it very amusing because we have been saying how that 1 month, all the Muslims, I have staff who, they don't drink during Ramadan. Once Ramadan is over, fiam.
You start the Salah safe.
They start, in fact, they don't womanize, they don't do anything. But once it's over like this, they resume. So I believe that they believe that they have collected the blessings because they did it well.
But they sustain them for the next 11 months.
So after that, they will now pray again.
See, when you look at the teachings in Ramadan, such as give charity, refrain from falsehood and action of falsehood, do not harm anyone. The Prophet even said, if anybody insults or attacks you, tell the person I'm fasting. So when you look at all of these teachings, they are the daily, they are the normal day teachings of the Sharia. Don't do this, don't do that, do this. So the Muslims need to actually understand this point so that we can have a better society for ourselves.
Excuse me, you just said if you go and attack a Muslim and you say, don't do this, I'm fasting. So that means that when he's not fasting, if you attack him, he can give you a punch.
Well, no. I must explain that aspect. You see, the Prophet was teaching us the significance of fast, right? How important it is for the Muslim to be completely devoted to God. So he said, if any of you is fasting, he didn't even mention Ramadan. He said, if any of you is fasting, which means it could be at any point in time. It could be Mondays and Thursdays. And then somebody insults the person or tries to attack him, you say, I'm fasting. Now, this same prophet also said, whoever does not refrain from falsehood, spewing falsehood and action from falsehood, Allah is not in need of his fast. Right? So what it simply means is that even though you are pious on your normal days, be more pious in Ramadan. So it is just a re-emphasizing the importance of Ramadan. There is no place in Islam where Almighty Allah, the Prophet said, if anybody attacks you unjustly, you know, you should
back.
attack the person back. In fact, Almighty Allah will always say in the Quran, وَأَن تَعْفُوا, that you forgive is better for you. Right? There's a verse in the Quran, Almighty Allah said, we made the law for the Jews, children of Israel, أَنَّ النَّفْسَ بِالنَّفْسِ, whoever kills, the recompense is that the law should kill him back, which is a normal law.
An eye.
An eye for an eye. All these laws are there. But at the tail end of that verse, Almighty Allah now said, but whoever forgives and lets go, it is better for him. So the teaching is that at every point in time, forgiving is the spirit that Islam
My
teaches.
friend, she's violent.
I have not touched. I have not done.
2024, no give for anybody. Maybe that's the spirit.
I have not do that too. Don't mind why.
We're going to have to wrap up with you very soon, but I think one of the things I'd like us to learn from you as Sheikh is some of the things we see during this season. We have this, there's always the lectures, the Ramadan, and there's something about the last 20 days, or is it the first 20
Last
days?
10 days.
Very, very important. Give us
Last 10 days.
Last 10 days, which I know she takes out time for that. Tell us about it. Are these in the Quran, or these are just people's ideas of what they must do during the Ramadan season?
Okay, the entirety of the month of Ramadan is a month of devotion, but of course there is an importance, a significance attached to the last 10 days of Ramadan. And the reason is that the last 10 days of Ramadan are the best of nights, because in it is a night called the Laylatul Qadr. Almighty Allah said, Laylatul Qadr khairum min alf shahr. Worshipping Allah in that night is more rewarding than worshipping Him in 1,000 months. 1,000 months is about 83 years and I think 4 months.
Wow.
So this is why Muslims are more devout in the last 10 days than in the first 20 days, because we want to attain the blessings of this night. The Prophet ﷺ said, the last span of my ummah is between 60 and 70. Only a few will pass that age. Only a few. Now imagine getting a reward for 83 years and 4 months just in one night. And then you're able to attain this probably in 10 or 20 years of your life. That's huge. So that's why you see some Muslims will take leave from work to go and do what you call i'tikaf. I'tikaf means seclusion. Secluding yourself in the mosque, completely, disengage with the outside world just for the sake of worship. So it is established in the Quran and it's not personal.
Final questions? Anything
Yeah,
else?
can I just ask this question? It's not to do with Ramadan. It's to do with when a Muslim dies and they bury them before sunset. Why is that?
Okay, there is a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, there are 3 periods that you are prohibited from praying and from burying your deceased. Number 1, when the sun is rising until it has fully risen. Number 2, when the sun is at the zenith, the horizon. And number 3, when the sun is setting. Right? So during these 3 hours, the Muslims are expected not to pray, because the first prayer in the morning is before the appearance of the dawn. The second prayer is when the sun has passed zenith. The third prayer is just about an hour or so after that. Then the fourth prayer is when the sun has finally set. And then the fifth prayer is when the twilight appears. So these 3 hours, we don't pray there and we don't bury our deceased because it is an injunction of Islam. However, there are certain reasons that may force the Muslims to pray or bury the deceased even at this time. Take, for instance, if somebody slept beyond the time of Salat, and by the time he woke up, the sun was already in at the zenith, he should pray. Because there's another injunction that says whoever sleeps and could not pray, he should pray whenever he wakes up. Then, for the deceased, if, for instance, there is a situation that will not allow us to delay burying this person until probably the sun has set, we can bury the person. We can even bury the person at night, if there's a reason for that. For instance, maybe the body will decompose, or maybe we fear that people would overpopulate the area, will not be able to bury the person in peace, then we can do that. So there are always exemptions to this rule, but these are just the basic rules.
I have to wrap up with you. But I mean, we really appreciate it, because one of the things we like to do during Ramadan is to learn, from the Muslims, from the sheikhs, from scholars, to understand. Because when we can understand each other, we're able to relate better with each other. So hopefully you can come back again before the end of Ramadan to share with us, or even we can talk to you via Zoom if I know you're far away from Illinois.
Sure.
But it's important for us to learn from the right people so that we all understand each other better. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
We wish you the best for the Ramadan.
Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah.
Let's go on a short break now. We'll come back and bring in our next guest. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.